Are you a military member that just got your PCS orders? You need to find out what the first thing you need to do. Today, coming to you from coastal Virginia, it's
Betsy
and Alan. Here's the situation. You're in the military. We have, how many bases do we have here?
18.
We've got 18 bases within an hour of Hampton Roads, coastal Virginia. So we see a lot of military people come through here. Approximately 60% of all the loans done in Hampton Roads last year for buying a house were VA loans. So first thing that happens before anybody comes to this area is they get orders. So when they get their orders, Betsy, what's the first thing they should do?
Call me.
Call Betsy right here. Simple. One thing. You don't have to remember this laundry checklist of things to do. All you got to do is
Call me.
there we go. So if you give Betsy a call, that's what happens. But when that happens, we're going to step in and we have a whole team that's going to walk you through exactly what to do. Now, one of the first things we need to find out is, where are your orders for? 18 military bases.
Yes, we don't want to put you on this side of the tunnel if you're on that side of the tunnel, because it always amazes me. Look, our tunnel traffic can be 3 hours to get from this side of the tunnel to that side of the tunnel on any given day. And you really want to be on whatever side of the tunnel that you will be working on, so that you can spend as much time, you know, really, really enjoying your life as possible, whether it's with your family, whether it's with yourself, friends, whatever. You really, really want to be able to enjoy your life and really, really knock down that commute time, be as close to that base as possible.
You know, even if your orders say Naval Station Norfolk, well, that's in Norfolk. Naval Air Station Oceana is in Virginia Beach up at the ocean front. That can be, during traffic, that can be 45 minutes to an hour just between those two. So what we want to make sure of is, what base are you coming to? Are you Navy, which is the predominant amount that we have here now? I was an Army guy, so we do have Army. We've got NATO headquarters here. We've got Langley Air Force Base. We've got the Coast Guard Station. We've got everybody in our area. So we need to know where you're going to be assigned. Now, once that happens, then we need to start walking you through a few things that need to take place first, like, what price range are you in? You know, our price range is a lot different than San Diego,
yes,
which is different than Pensacola, which is different than Jacksonville or some of the other places.
And you're going to want to know, what's your BAH?
What is your BAH? Now, some of you may not even be used to having BAH if you've been living on base. But if you have been living on base, or if you've been living on base in a different area, your BAH, your allowance for housing, is different everywhere you go in the military. If you haven't transferred before, this might be something you have to learn. I can remember I went from Fort Bragg, North Carolina to Washington, D.C., and my BAH went way up for Washington, D.C. compared to Fort Bragg.
It's like these people who come from San Diego out to here, and your BAH is going to go way down because the cost of living out here is a whole lot less.
But that's a good thing.
It is.
So when you come out here, we're going to find out what your BAH is, or based on what your rank, grade, and where you're going to be located is. Once we do that, the next thing is, should they call a lender and get pre-qualified before buying a house, or once they start looking?
Oh, no. We're going to do it before. We're always going to do it before we start shopping. And, you want to know exactly where, what you're looking for. You want to know, and I always tell people, just because you're approved up here doesn't mean necessarily that's what you're going to be looking for, because I want to know what's your comfort level, what's your monthly comfort level, because you're always going to be approved higher sometimes than what your comfort level is. Some people are going to want to spend every single solitary dime of that. Some people are going to say, oh, no, Betsy, I want to spend half of what they're approved for, because you have those people who are very, very budget conscious. And I mean, some people are going to be crazy approved, crazy approved.
And one of the next things we always have to look for, too, is people will sometimes ask us, is there any way I can start looking at houses before I get there?
Oh, my gosh, absolutely. I mean, one of the greatest things in the world was that I was super ready for COVID, super ready. Why? Because we specialize so much in these great military moves, and I deal with so much of the teams and so much of the NCIS people and so much of these military moves that people are coming from all over the place, that we do so many moves of people who don't even see their homes until they get here. So guess what? When the COVID shutdown happened, we were already used to touring you guys with the phones and with all the things. And now it's become so much better because we have the Meta AI glasses and stuff where I can literally take you guys through a house where you're seeing it as we're seeing it. And believe it or not, I am so, not believe it or not, because I would hope that everybody is, but I know they're not. I'm so much pickier with a client that is not here, because here's the thing. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you don't know what's beside it. You are not able to know the area at all. So I have to be so picky with you guys in order for you to, I mean, we're looking up at the ceiling together because I don't want you to get here and not know all of that. The biggest thing I get when I meet people who have bought with another agent that are coming to me to sell a home that they've bought with somebody else is they're like, oh, Betsy, we bought this sight unseen. Actually, this weekend, I am getting ready to sell a house, and she said, oh, Betsy, we bought this house sight unseen. She goes, and when I got here, I was in tears. And I was like, oh, she goes, yes. She goes, oh, if you saw the pictures online, they were beautiful. When the agent told it to us, it was gorgeous. She goes, I got here, and I looked at my husband, and I said, you better start gutting this house because this is awful. She goes, it was totally, everything was misrepresented to us. And I said, wow.
On the opposite of that, I can remember that one house that we actually did the video, did a remote closing. We actually did the first remote online notary in Virginia. We had the very first one that took place in our state. And then they closed on the house. They got delayed. They did not even show up for 2 months after they closed. So the first time they ever saw their house, they'd already owned it for 2 months.
Awesome.
Talk about pressure.
Scary.
We're like, oh, please. But they, great thing. They loved their house. They came in. They loved the house. But it was all done.
We had to go get the mail.
Yeah, we had to go because they had
get somebody to cut their grass.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that.
Yep, we had everything because it was 2 months before they saw their house, and that happened a lot. We were seeing people get delayed. Now, some things you might not be used to here in Hampton Roads is, we are on the coast. You might not have ever had to hear about flood insurance or flood zones or some of the different things that take place here. We also, every now and then while we're filming here, because we are down here at the ocean front, close to Oceana, we call it the sound of freedom. We will hear these jets flying over the top. So we have aircraft noise and crash zones here.
We're plus 75 right here at the ocean front.
So what that means is we're going to explain to you when you move in. Some people, they love that sound. They love seeing the jets. They love watching the jets. I can remember I used to live in a condo right up the street here.
My first apartment was right there.
And when the Blue Angels came to town and they flew by, I swear I was on the penthouse on the top floor. I was seeing them eye to eye with the pilot as they flew by.
Well, this morning we had one right here that was not even 10 feet above this building. I actually took a picture.
Yep. So, we see them all the time, but that's going to be new for some of you. And so we're going to describe, okay, this is in this noise zone or this crash zone. And this is also when it comes to flood insurance, which can greatly impact your monthly budget amount. We're going to let you know what the flood zones are. Those are things you have to learn through us about our local market area. So now, tell me about this, rent versus buy.
Well, so here, I'm very, very serious with my military people. Depending on how long you are going to be stationed here is a big deciding factor on if you're going to rent versus you're going to purchase. Because if you are not going to be here for longer than during the past few years, if you were 2 years, you could buy here in a second, you were good. But now, if you do not know that you're going to be here more than a few years, you absolutely should be renting.
Yep. Because what's happened is Our market is the really great thing about the market here in Hampton Roads is we have lots of turnover because guess what? The military moves people often. So for us, that's a good thing. People list and sell houses all the time. Now, some markets around the country, you'll see huge spikes in appreciation. They go way up through the roof. Those same markets have huge crashes that go through the roof. Our market, we're a little bit insulated from that. We have waves that go on, but we rarely have huge rises and huge crashes.
Right.
So because of that, if you take a look, and let's just say, as an example, it's ballpark, it depends on the house and when you bought. Say there's a 9 or 10% cost of selling. Well, if our market's going up 4% a year, which is kind of consistent for us, you really need to be here 3 years to have 12% increase before you can sell without bringing money to the table.
Correct.
And most VA buyers, do they put money down?
Zero money down. And guess what else you have? A funding fee.
A funding fee that typically gets
Goes on
financed
top.
in. So we've got to make sure
You're in the negative when you start.
Yep, we've got to make sure you have the ability to recover that. So we know right now, 4.2% is kind of the average right now. So if you needed to recover 10% to be able to sell and not bring money to the table, we need 3 years in the house at least before we can do that. You want to make a little money? 4 years makes us really happy when you walk
Right.
away, because then you've got cash to go to the next one and do your move. Now,
To protect our veterans.
before and after the closing, one thing we have is we have a team. What's it look like
great
a little bit with our team when it comes to like the home inspections and all the things that take place? What do we do?
Well, so we're very, very unique and different. So with us, it is obviously Alan, the broker, me, the team lead, and then we have a staff of 6. And then we have, of course, 4 agents that work under us. And it is just a rock solid team that has kept us running great. But we also have our vendors that have been with us for forever that we highly recommend. So we have a great inspection team, a great attorney, great movers. You don't need them. Your military, most military has got the military moves. But all around, we just have great termite and moisture people, all of that. But
And then here's what it really comes with us, especially our military members. When you come here, oftentimes you might not know a lot of people. Now, in the Navy, I think it's a little more so than the Army, but in the Navy, sometimes you'll know people because you work in the same kind of career field you transfer. But one of the best things is getting to know people in the neighborhood. And one thing we do, we hold a few client events, parties.
yes, we hold, four big client events. Then we do,
small things.
Small things, but our client events are great, and great people get to
We got
know
one
each
coming
other.
up here in May, right?
Yep, going to the zoo, May 9th,
We have
the Norfolk Zoo.
Zoo Day coming up, and that is where we invite our clients in, so they get to come in, they get to meet other people that are our clients and other people, and it's amazing how often they'll say, we're best friends now because they met somebody at one of our client events and they got to know somebody, and that's the whole idea
Just
behind
did
it.
one at New Realm where somebody won a mortgage payment at the end.
Yep, they got lucky. So, for all of y'all, before you get your when you get your PCS move assignment, when you get your orders, even before you get your orders, if you know it's going to happen, sometimes you find out ahead of time, hey, I'm on the list. We're going to be going to coastal Virginia in July of this year, and you're just waiting on orders. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. The faster we get in front of this, the better we can do, the more prepared you're going to be, because we're going to set up a system just for you based on your situation.
Right, and make sure that you're in the neighborhood that's perfect for you. For if you have kids, they're in the right school district they want, with the right sport sometimes that they want, because that matters. In the vicinity that's the closest for you and that base that you're at, because all of that kind of stuff matters.
Right.
Everything like that matters.
So until next time, if you want to get information like this, you need to make sure and like us,
Love us.
and follow us below. This is Alan
And Betsy.
coming to you from coastal Virginia.